Can you imagine dating a man for, after you've been single for a while and you meet this great guy and you finally get in a relationship and everything seems so good. Everything seems so well. And you're like, I can't believe this. I have waited a while to meet this great guy. And then come to find out, after a year, everything's going great. And then you go into your second year and then nothing's happening. And you're looking around and you're like, wait a minute, we're still dating and we're going into the second year. He's a great guy, so you think, and you're a great girl, and it just doesn't seem to be coming together. And you're like, well, what happened? What did I do? And now guilt sets in because you're like, everybody's telling you he's a great guy. Everybody's telling you you have a wonderful relationship. You have relationship goals. Everything looks good on paper. It seems like God finally answered your prayer. Everything seems to be coming together, and yet he hasn't asked you to marry him. And he knows you want to be married, but that question hasn't come. So now you start to feel guilty because now you start to question, should I stay in this relationship or not? You've given it time, you've thought about it. You're like, yeah, this is great. I've waited so long to be in a relationship with a guy like this. So you start to feel guilty, and then now it moves from guilt to frustration because now it seems like the life that you desired, which is to be a wife and to have a family, is slipping through your fingers. Although you're still in the relationship with this great guy. So now the question becomes, do I stay or do I leave? You're in this conundrum now. And you have these outside forces from other people telling you he's a great guy. Go ahead and stay. It doesn't matter. And then you have people telling you, hey, you know what? Marriage isn't everything. He adores you. You're not going to find another guy like him. You even have some men telling you, hey, it's not that many of us like that. You better keep them. You better stay. And they're telling you your standards are way too high. You're too picky. You need to settle on this great guy. You need to settle on this guy. You're not going to get better. And you're trying to upgrade and you're not going to get better. And so the frustration just keeps growing and growing and growing. That's what we're talking about today. Is good the goal? If marriage is the goal. Let's go. Welcome, welcome, welcome everybody to the Inner Beauty TV. I'm your host, Nicole Michelle, founder and feminine mentor for the Inner Beauty Movement. We're all about helping women reconnect with their power, their core, their essence while simplifying the pathway to marriage. I would love to be your mentor in love like Naomi guided Ruth. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, you've been looking for a wife prep space, as well as faith, strengthening your faith, strong family values, and femininity goals, you have reached the Inner Beauty TV, and we love to have you here. Go ahead and like and subscribe and share for this live, and you can check us out at theinnerbeautymovement.org if you want to get more familiar with us there. That's all I'll say. We'll go ahead and get into it. The last couple of weeks have been on fire as we've seen some young women that have announced that they were going to be getting married, and a lot of people had mixed feelings about it. And I'm not going to drop names or anything like that because I like protecting people's privacy and conversations, and I'm just going to make it a learning conversation for women that want to be married. Shout out to everybody joining me on the live and the rebroadcast. Shout out to everybody. Type future wife in the live chat if you are a future wife. Type clarity in the comment section if you're listening to me on the rebroadcast. So Listen, a lot of people's skirts was ruffled up because people were announcing that they were getting married. And a lot of times people have to understand when you have a lot of people congregated listening, they're listening to you for aspiration, not necessarily on the same path as you. They're trying to get it together and figure it out, but not necessarily on the same path as you. So when you out and announce that you're getting married, it feels like betrayal sometimes because they felt like we're all these single girls all together and we're all going to be single together, and now you've kind of betrayed us because now you're getting married. And it shouldn't be that way. Women that want to be married should be preparing. Last broadcast, I specifically told women that want to be married, now is not the season to be trauma bonding, dragging men, online arguing about relationships, finessing, manipulating. Good. I see some future wives. Now is not the time to be doing that. Now is the time to get your ducks in a row, baby, from A to Z, and prepare to be a wife. That's all it takes. All of this frustration is centered around not being prepared. Being prepared to be a wife really eliminates a lot of drama. And that's what my space is really curated about, is simplifying the pathway to marriage. And one of the simplest ways to really safeguard that you're going to go into marriage with your tools sharpened and ready for the challenge is being prepared. Sometimes life knocks you in the jaw and you're like, wow, I wasn't prepared for that. But you actually are prepared for that. You have the skills to figure out how to manage through. And you also have the Lord on your side. So all of these factors play into it. But if you're not prepared and you don't have Lord on your side and you're surrounded by negativity, yeah, marriage will look like the hardest thing for a woman to accomplish. Right? So can you imagine being in a marriage with a man? I'm sorry, being in a relationship with a man, and you know, after being single for a while, you stumble into this relationship, and I mean stumble because you almost gave up hope, and you stumble into this relationship with this great guy, and it seems like everything is going good, and time is passing, 6 months to a year, and you're not tripping because it's under a year. It's not an emergency because it's under a year. You're getting to know him, he's getting to know you, and everybody's saying, oh my God, he's a great guy, oh my God, when are you going to get married? And you're not pressed. You're like, hey, we're taking our time, we're doing us. But then it comes upon a year and a half, 2 years, and you're starting to look at the calendar going, wait, he's great, I'm great. We've determined that we enjoy each other. This is serious. However, it's not going to the next level. Now what? And the question becomes, is good the goal, or is marriage the goal? Because here, good is not the goal. Good is we're going to move in together. We're going to have this baby together. We're going to chill together. We're going to travel. He's going to live at his house. I'm going to live in my house. And then we're just going to date forever. That's good. But marriage is the goal. Marriage is the goal for women in this space. So when we're in good relationships, yeah, it's good. That's good. But is it leading to marriage? And the question becomes, do you stay or do you leave? You have all this pressure from all of these single women telling you, he's good, girl, stop being picky. And then you have the men saying you should go ahead and plant your boots right there, hit your wagon to him, because it doesn't get any better than that. But I raise you that it does get better than that if he's not going to marry you. So that's something that for future wives, you will get that situation. I want to talk about that because some of you will actually get in that particular situation. And this particular young lady, she was dragged online. I saw the post and I saw the comments, and I talked about this young lady briefly on my channel last summer, and I thought that she was a nice young lady. I could see marriage in her future. I told you that. But I saw the comments that people were saying to her, like, oh, you should, you're talking about trying to go from good to better. And a lot of people took that message, took what she was saying that we're talking about today. They took that to mean leave a perfectly good situation to go get a guy with more money. That's what they took from it, because a lot of the culture's conversations are very limited. They only talk about money and sex. Right? Everything is transactional. Nothing has to do with God, nothing has to do with love, nothing has to do with purpose and covenant. And here we cover it all. Like, but in regards to dating and marriage, we don't really spend a whole lot of time on dating, because as future wives we're supposed to be moving through that process fairly easily. And if you need help with that, you need to come to the Future Wives Club, a private exclusive club for women who want to figure out how to be a wife and get this process down pat, so when they meet the right guy, it flows easily. So, we're not talking about a good relationship. And I think people misunderstood what she was saying, because they have the culture and the culture's ideals when they're listening to people that are in Christ. When we say we're moving from good to better, what we are saying is we were in a good relationship. Everything seemed good on paper. I was attracted to him. The chemistry was great. Everything lined up, except he wasn't proposing. So we are not, God's covered girls are not meant to just stay stagnant forever because a man is whatever he's doing. We're going to go into the types of men that kind of draw this out. We're going to talk about that briefly. And I'm going to really draw it out in my Future Wives Club video coming this week, where I kind of really go down the rabbit hole with these guys. So you don't waste a minute on these guys. But that's not the point. The point is we are trying to be married, not be longtime girlfriends. And we are not talking about women who want to be longtime girlfriends here. We're talking about women who want to be wives, and we're doing the work to become a wife. We didn't do all of this work to be a longtime girlfriend. Being a longtime girlfriend really, honestly, doesn't take a whole lot of work. It just takes a man willing to put up with us, and we put up with him long enough, and nobody you know, pulls the trigger on breaking up. So we just stay together, and we have these strong feelings for each other, and whatever. We define it as we say fit. In marriage, God defines the rules. God sets up the hierarchy and the rules and the covenant, and we abide by that. We both agree to that. And it's nothing nothing is worse than being in a relationship with a guy who does not want covenant, who does not want to go far. Now, they start out saying they are open to marriage. That is their goal. And so you feel like you feel good in this. You're like, hey, 1 year went by. It's understandable. 1 year of 4 seasons of being with somebody, it's not a rush. But then you go into a year and a half, 2 years, 2.5 years, and now you're feeling some type of way because it's not progressing, and you're doing what you thought you were supposed to do. And you're like, well, wait a minute, why isn't this moving forward? And so the culture takes it as, okay, she just wants to upgrade. They look at it as money and sex, very limited. But when you're a future wife and you're God's covered girl, it's marriage or bust. That's it. Christian women, I need to talk to you today, and this is important. When we're dating for marriage in mind, we're not just looking for good feelings. We're looking for actual commitment and marriage. That is you and him, not just one party. And here's what I need you to hear without shame. A relationship can feel good. It can feel great. It can feel affirming and all those good, warm and fuzzies, and still not be taking you where you need to go. And some of you are in something that seems fine on the surface. He's kind. He shows up. He's consistent enough to keep you holding on. But months turn into years, and there's still no clear direction, no real leadership, no movement towards marriage. And the culture is going to tell you, just be grateful, girl. Don't pressure him, girl. Don't pressure him. The fellas will say, don't pressure him. Don't seem desperate, right? Don't rush it. Don't put a title on it. Oh, you church girls just want marriage. I just want to be easy, right? That's the reason why you're not married now, is because you put so much pressure on these men. Right? And meanwhile, you're quietly losing time. Let me say this again. You, my beautiful, beautiful beautiful dove, you're quietly losing time. And let me be clear, comfort, it doesn't mean confirmation. Just because you're comfortable doesn't mean that's the one you're supposed to be with. That doesn't mean that's God's ordained man to be your husband. Chemistry doesn't mean you're called to marry him. And companionship isn't the same as courtship with intention. So I'm going to say this now. This isn't about leaving someone to upgrade because that's what the culture has pushed. That's what they've been saying for the last 2 weeks. That's not what we're talking about. That's not what this is. This is about recognizing when something isn't aligned with where God is taking you and having the courage to act on that truth. Shout out to the young lady that sent me a message, one of my clients. She's in the Future Wives Club, and she said, "Thank you, Miss Nicole, for the clarity. I got your message, and I heard it loud, clear, and I was thanking God right then and there because she made the decision that I'm talking about today. She was in a good relationship, and she had to pull it, let it go because it wasn't leading to marriage. Now that scares a lot of men, but that's not what we hear about. That's not what we're here for today. It scares a lot of men to hear that, but for future husbands, I'm listening to you fellas. Hey, Phineas, I'm listening to you. I'm talking to you fellas right now, briefly. This shouldn't scare you at all because if you're a future husband, you're not wasting time on the woman that in your heart you know is your wife. By no means are you wasting time because you're afraid you're going to lose her. So you're not going to keep dating her and then risk losing her. That's not something that you want to take a chance on. So in no way, shape, or form am I talking to you. Let me put my glasses on and see what he wrote. Shout out to my brother Phineas Henshaw for the $10 super chat. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. You're so generous. For the tip jar, good afternoon. I agree. I am not built to be a long-time boyfriend. A boyfriend thing. I know that's right. No one cares until something requires marriage credentials. Just saying. I know that's right. Ladies, when you hear a man say he's not into the long term, he's not trying to be a long term boo, that should be music to your ears. I know that's right. And I told my now husband and the ones before him, I don't care how old I am not a girlfriend, a boo thing, a hookup, and all that sort of thing. I am a wife, and if you don't see me that way, that's fine. I'm okay with that. But you either gonna, as my mother used to say, use pot or get off of it. And that's how I've moved. She taught me that back when I was a teenager. I'm like, Mom, nobody talks like that anymore. This isn't the 50s. And she was like, baby, everything's the 50s. I'm like, I don't know about that, Mom. But I found myself as a grown woman in the 90s and 2000s growing up saying, either use the pot or get off of it. Shout out to Mama resting in heaven. Listen, ladies, I'm telling you, that's what it is. Because if marriage is actually your goal, the right relationship is the one that moves toward it, period. With intention, with honor, and with leadership. So we're going to talk about that today. Type covenant in the chat if that's something you have been looking for, you're waiting on. Let's talk about courtship. Let's define it really quick. And for those of you that have been looking to get into the Future Wives Club, you still have a brief opening. You must go through the Blindspot, the bride, or the good girl method, and then you are extended an invitation into the Future Wives Club. You don't need to be on camera. You don't have to be like, "Hey, girl." It's private. You can study in private, or you can reach out to the other women. It's completely a private space. I know everybody is not into that. Some people like to study private. They don't want their business out there. I get it. However you like to learn, however you want to utilize the space. If you want to be outgoing and meet up with the other ladies, that's fine. I've had clubs where the other ladies are still friends to this day. In my first Future Wives Club years ago, they're still friends to this day. So if that's what you want to do, fine. But if you would just want to stay in the cut and just kind of learn privately, I get it. I was that kind of student. I'm okay with that. I'm fine. Just as long as you are getting the material that I drop in there, I'm fine with that. And for the ladies that want to improve their social capital and their standing and things like that, that's what the Feminine Elite Society app is for. And so that's going to be more improving your wardrobe and improving your overall look and your position in society, and understanding how society works and understanding the different archetypes of men and how to show up. That's going to be the Feminine Elite Society app, which is more coaching than it is mentoring. Okay, so let's define courtship. um, Courtship in your lane is going to be intentional pursuit. He's intentionally calling you, he's intentionally coming after you. Spiritual alignment, family, community, integration is going to be a clear purpose and leadership. Movement towards marriage, not just indefinite dating. All right, I could talk all day about the signs of that. What does indefinite, the cues that they do, the stuff that they say, um, it just makes you think that it's one day it's going to be something. Let's talk about leaving for better, though. And those of you that are joining me live, feel free to drop questions about anything that I'm saying. If you have a question as we go along, I'd like to interact with you. So this is your opportunity to ask me questions. Or if you feel more comfortable, you can ask me in the Future Wives Club, where I can really get down the rabbit hole with this stuff. All right. Leaving for better. Don't say something better. All right. Don't say I'm leaving for something better. I'm leaving for a better guy. I'm leaving for a greater guy or a better situation. I mean, it really doesn't matter what you say to other people, but just don't say it like that. Just say this isn't about finding someone better per se. It's about honoring what I actually want instead of settling for what's just okay. And ladies, settling is not just dating a man with no job. Settling is not just dating a man who is inconsistent. Settling is not just dating a man that you are not attracted to. That's not the only definition of settling. Settling also includes, and I learned this as well, being over 30, dating in, well, let's be real, I was over 40, child. I was over 40 in Atlanta trying to date, and I had to have this real conversation. I had to have this real conversation with myself. Settling is not just what those things that I just named. Settling also includes marrying someone that doesn't want, or settling for something, a relationship that is not going to lead to marriage. There are a couple of relationships that I could be in to this day that were not going to lead to marriage. And when I had that come to Jesus conversation with myself and the Lord, and I was like, I really like him. I'm attracted to him. This is good. It's good. Like, I could post him and I's photo online, and they're gonna be like, "Oh, look at Nicole. Oh, he's fine. Oh, they look good together. Oh," but he doesn't want to marry me, though. Like, what good is that? He doesn't want to marry me, and I want to be married. So what good is that? Well, Nicole, I have this house, and you can move in, and you don't have to pay any bills. So he had that part right, but he doesn't want to marry me, though. So I'm just like a 40-year-old girlfriend. Yeah, yeah. I'll pass. Like, I could have easily passed that on. And a lot of people would have been, that's okay, that's cool. In our culture, that would have been just okay. But it wouldn't have been okay with me. It actually would have made me a hypocrite all this time talking about marriage, and then I'm a glorified girlfriend. But it still wouldn't have been okay with me. Do you understand what I'm saying, ladies? That preparing to be a wife means having these uncomfortable conversations with self and saying, what is it that I really want? And I love the direction of content creation right now, because everybody's finding their own lane. Everybody is not going to be able to talk about marriage because everybody doesn't want marriage. And that's okay. Some people just want a good dating experience. Some people just want a good long time boo. Some people just want sex and money. Some people just want, there's marriage, and then there's marriage God's way. And this is marriage God's way. So it's like the bar is set a little bit higher because God really wants us to feel protected in marriage. And so in order for us to feel protected in marriage, there's some safeguards that we must go through. So we can't just take everybody's marriage advice. I'm going to tell you that. And I thought about this too, and this is a tangent. Let me go on it real quick. I thought about this earlier today, and I said there's only two men that I think women can listen to, and I'm talking about future wives, God's cover girls specifically, can listen to that actually will help them grow. I'm going to type their names in the chat. And I think you all been here long enough. For some of you that you've been following me for some while, you already know which names I'm going to list. You can listen to these men. They actually will help you grow. I stand by them probably 98%. 98%, nobody agrees 100%, but I've listened to them, and their information is rock solid. Rock solid. So if and they're married, their information is built on God's word. I love that. So you listen to these fellas, you can actually grow. If you're looking for the masculine point of view about preparing for marriage, these two fellas, they'll get you there. Yeah, I know. I knew you would like that one, Debbie. I knew you would like that name. But I honestly, these fellas are true to it. I love both of them, and I love their information. And when I listen to them, I don't cringe. I'm like, oh my God, why did he just say that to women? I don't have that feeling when I listen to these two. So those two, I endorse 100%. Anyway, back to what I was saying. So when you're dating God's way and you're courting God's way, because we don't really date, we move from dating to courting rather quickly. But when you're courting for marriage, you're doing it God's way, so it won't look like the culture. So you have to have that conversation with you, because the culture will say all of these other things are okay. But is it okay? Is it okay with you, and is it okay with God? Those are two things you have to ask, and those are two benchmarks you have to pass before it's okay. And when you're with a guy and the relationship is great, it's good, all of the boxes are checked, and that's fine, but is he willing to marry you? How long is he going to take this? Right? And is this what you want? Or and that's settling too. That's settling too. All right. And this isn't about finding someone better. Please understand that. This is about finding someone that's in alignment with that name. Yeah, go ahead and subscribe to him. There's a couple of things that was said. Well, I'll say that in Future Wives Club, but it's a couple of things that was said from this person that about traditional marriage and things like that I didn't agree with, and I felt that that was toxic to tell women. So I had to pull back from that message. It's some people have to grow with what's going on and understand. So that's why I had to pull. Yeah, he is good, but I had to pull back from some content, because the things with the traditional wife thing, there are some women that will come out of corporate America. There's some women that will stay in corporate America. So you have to be more well-rounded to talk about both, because we're not women are not a monolith. And so you understand. Yeah, so I just want that clear. Like, he has a lot of good content, but the other two, 100%, I haven't heard anything that I can say, oh, he shouldn't be telling women that. Yikes, he shouldn't say that. Like, no. And it's been in alignment with the Bible. So that's where I stand with that one. All right, so and so this is where women feel seen without feeling judged. I want you to feel seen. I want you to feel that someone understands where you're coming from, because I was here. And I wanted to feel seen. I didn't want people just judging me and telling me what I should think and how I should view a relationship. And some people were even telling me, girl, he's okay. You should take that deal. And they weren't saying that because they had malicious feeling against me. They were just saying it because they wanted me to be happy. And one thing that I love about my best friend, she was like, Nicole, that will never make you happy. You know that. So I don't even know why you're entertaining that. And she was like, and I was like, well, I'm just, my options. And she was like, that's not an option. If it's not what you want, it's not an option. And that taught me right then and there. I was like, and that's why she's my best friend. Because she said, if It's not what you want, it's not an option. I was like, oh, there it is. There it is. If it's not in God's will, we have to take it a step further because we have extra benchmarks. If it's not in God's will, it's not what we want. Here are the core reasons that women may stay in a relationship, kind of contemplate and stand with a man that isn't pushing the needle. He isn't moving forward. You fear of scarcity. You fear, oh, I'm never going to marry a man, a suit and tie man that works downtown and makes that kind of money, that treats me well and comes from a good family, and he goes to church and he doesn't slap me around and he's faithful. I'm never going to find that, Nicole. I'm never going to find that. It could be guilt. He's a good man, Savannah. A good man, on some of that energy, you know? It may be some of that. And you're like, no, he's a good man. I should stick it out. Maybe I'm jumping the gun too soon. Maybe I'm jumping to conclusions. Let me stop listening to these people online. Maybe I should just close my ears and buckle down and just make the best of it. Or maybe people stay because of trauma bonding. It's comforting. You're surrounded by a lot of people who may not be married themselves, or they were in relationships that weren't happy or fulfilling, and they see your relationship as what they would aspire to. And so they're like, no, stay. I wish I had a man like that. You even have women online throwing other women under the bus. Girl, just because he lost his job and he been out of work for 3 years, girl, you better be glad you have a man because at least he can mow the lawn. You have a lot of that. But girl, he in the house, so at least you have a man. Some of that, at least you have a man stuff. You get a lot of that. It may not be online. It could be in real life. You know, or you have pressure because you have a sunk cost fallacy, right? Oh no, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. Or you have a fear of being judged by church and the community. You know, what is the church going to say? I'm 32 and I haven't been married. I'm 38 and I haven't been married. I'm 42 and I haven't been married. I'm so pretty. Why don't I have a man? You have everything going for yourself. You're so dependable. You're a leader at work. Why don't you have a man? What's wrong with you? Why you can't keep a man? Are you picky? You want too much. You want a millionaire. Just assuming everything you want. Or it could be a fear you just don't want to start over. That was mine. I did not want to start over. I hated the meeting him for the first time, going on the first date, the first few conversations, getting to know each other, setting boundaries. I hated that. Hello from Michigan. How you doing? I hated that. I absolutely hated the beginning of relationships. I really shined once we established that we were a couple, we were courting for marriage. That's when I really got to show the best of me. But in the beginning, it just felt rigid. It felt performative to me. It felt I just hated the beginning of relationships. So I really I'm like, let me stick it out because I just really don't want to start all over. Maybe that's you. Or maybe you're just avoiding grief. You're avoiding the breakup process and having to have that conversation that we're not going to last. We're not going to be together. It's not going to go to distance. Maybe you're having that conversation, or maybe you're just trying to avoid that conversation. I get it. But again, I have to remind you, just because it's comforting doesn't mean it's confirming that he's the man you're supposed to be with. And high functioning women like yourselves, you don't confuse that. Don't confuse comfort with commitment. Okay? Because they're going to have different outcomes. So now let's talk about 3 types of good but not marrying men. Okay? It's 3 of them that I want to highlight today. And I'm only going to hit like a couple of things. I'm not going to be here long today. I just want to hit a couple of things. If you're the Future Wives Club, we're going to go in the rabbit hole with these guys. Because I don't want you to waste a minute on these guys. Let me talk about something that trips up a lot of smart women. A man can be genuinely good. He's going to be kind. He's going to be respectful, enjoyable to be around. You feeling you're feminine with him. You feel like you can trust him, and still not be someone who's going to marry you. He's going to marry somebody, just not you. And that's the part that stings. That you have this feeling like, wait, he's going to marry somebody at some point. Why doesn't he feel that way about me? So it starts to feel like an ego thing. And I would have those moments too where, wait a minute, I'm a great girl. Why doesn't he want to marry me? So now it becomes I have to prove to him that he's making a mistake by not moving forward with me. Okay. Um, he's obviously doesn't know what's going on. He obviously is blind, deaf, dumb, and blind because he isn't moving forward on me. Blah. And I had to move my ego aside, and maybe he just isn't the one. It's just simple as that. It's nothing more, nothing less. He's just not the one. Good character and marriage preparedness aren't the same thing. Just because he's a good man doesn't mean he's ready to be married. It doesn't mean he's ready to be married to you. It doesn't mean he has all his ducks in a row to be married. Sometimes the timing is off. Just sometimes. So instead of villainizing anyone, I want to help you recognize patterns. I'm not trying to beat up on the fellas. I'm not trying to villainize or, you know, go all into the woods with all of that. I just want to help you recognize these patterns. And we're not going to deal with it emotionally, just kind of practically. And there are three common types that I want to focus on that I see. Men who are good people, but for different reasons, they aren't moving towards marriage. I want to talk about that. And once you understand these patterns, you'll notice or you'll stop making the mistake of being comfortable and taking that for commitment. All right. A lot of women are settling for being comfortable over commitment. All right. Let me read her message before I get into it. She says, I had to dismiss a similar offer. House, cruises, money. He told me Christian women need to stop acting like this and know a good thing. Girl. And that's another thing that is going on in the culture is that a lot of guys have figured out that there are a lot of horny church girls. Hear me out. I'm not talking about you. Hear me out. Okay. They figured out that there are a lot of church women out there that have been neglected. They haven't been treated right. And it's not because they're not feminine or not beautiful. Some of the most beautiful women are sitting up in churches on Sunday mornings. It has nothing to do with that. But a lot of men, let's think like a man, just real quick. They're like, okay, I've been out there in the streets with the fast girls and the fun girls, and I've had fun. Now, what other bank of women can I go to that I can kind of not have to compete like I do out here in these streets? Oh, these women out here praying to God, they haven't had a date in 2 years. She's pretty, she's got a job, she's educated. Woo, let me go over here. And so what they do is they're not necessarily ready, coach. They're not necessarily ready for you. And so what they'll do is they'll flip it and gaslight you and make it seem like you're doing something wrong when it's really them who's really not ready for you. And so they found another bank of women that they think, because you're smarter than that, they think that they can just have long-term relationships with you or whatever they feel they can have with you and not feel the pressure of being married. Because when they're out there in the streets, at some point, those women are still going to ask for something. Those women are saying, I want a $200 date off the rip, which is slow brow. It's down market, but yeah, they're still having these conversations. And I don't want a man to go 50-50. And they're having these types of conversations in the culture, in the town square. He's like, where can I get away from this kind of conversation? Let me go to a woman that's been praying to God, and she's looking for certain things. I can put on a suit, and I got a good job, and I don't have a criminal record. And let me go over here and see what she's talking about. And she'll be so glad to have me because she doesn't have anything. And what they do is they highlight all these Christian women. Woo, she got married. Woo, we see this all over social media where guys, you know what you see, where it's, thousands of women and but I chose this woman, and it's this, and they trigger comparison amongst other women. Well, what's wrong with, why is she different? Why did she get chosen? Why not me? And what's wrong with me? And it just triggers comparison, and they just play with church women's feelings. Guys cover girls, you know, they try to play with our emotions and make us feel like it's us. It's something we did while we're not being chosen. And I want to raise you. I want to tell you today that that's another game. That's another game that they play. And I'm not saying this to beat up on men. I'm saying that when you're preparing to be a wife, you've got to steer clear. You've got to be able to recognize these fellas. That's why you need to be in the Future Wives Club so we can break it down. Um, so I'm glad you said that, and he wasn't counting on you, so making that decision, and that's why we're having this conversation today, because they're hoping that out of guilt, out of shame, out of desperation, out of all of these things that we talked about, you'll make the decision to stay put because he's so good. He wears a suit and everybody else wears jeans. He has a job. He hasn't been in jail. I mean, basic manhood stuff. He actually has a savings account. He owns his own property. Things like that. They'll trigger scarcity in you. And so you're like, I better stay put. I better stay put. And then you'll override prayer. You'll override your real feelings. You'll override what you really desire, which is to be married, which is in alignment with God. God doesn't want us sleeping around and having all kinds of men touching on our goodies. He really doesn't. He hates that. But we settle for that because we want a man. So when we say, Lord, we want a husband, he's like, you do? Great. Go ahead and prepare for it. Ruth, go ahead and prepare to be a wife. Esther, go ahead and prepare. But women want to be married and not prepare. So God can't bless mess. You understand? So when we tell the Lord we want a husband, he's on board. He's like, yes, my daughter. Yes, my daughter. Let me put you in the path of Nicole Michelle so we can get you prepared to be a wife. So good catch, coach. You caught that and you called him out on it. Good for you. So let's talk about the first one. Let me get a drink of lemonade really quick. The first one is the drifter. Excuse me, the drifter. Let's talk about the drifter. He genuinely enjoys your company because you're that girl, of course. Why wouldn't he enjoy your company? He likes spending time with you. He appreciates the consistency. Oh, by the way, back up before we go into the drifter. I just want to say this, coach. A lot of men love women like us because we're safe. Because they know we're not city girls, we're not out. If we go out with our girls, we go shopping. We're not, for the most part, we're trustworthy. Like, they could trust us. And that's a breath of fresh air compared to all of the other women in the street. Sorry, that's just what it is. I got to be blunt. We're trustworthy. And so they feel like we're safe. We're safe for all the wrong reasons. Not safe because we're safe to be loved, but safe because he can figure it out. And in his mind, we're so desperate and so lonely that we're going to sit there and wait. So that's why I kind of get, I have to address it that way so that people understand we're on to you. We get it. We know why you're up in here. And it's not because you actually want to be husbands. It's that you just want to find another woman that you can play around with. You're not going to do good by her. You just want to play around with her. You understand what I'm saying? So they play the role, and sometimes they're in church too. But I just want to, if you want help recognizing these in greater detail, go back and look over my former videos. I think it's one video I break them down. But if you want to go in the rabbit hole, how to get around these guys and avoid relationships with these guys, let's talk about it in the Future Wives Club. So the drifter, he's going to be cool to hang around with. Of course he likes your company. He likes spending time with you. He appreciates that you're consistent. He values the connection you build, of course, right? But he doesn't make decisive moves forward when it comes to being with you in terms of marriage, okay? He's real vague. Yeah, let's talk about this next year. Let's reevaluate this down the road. I mean, he's very vague. The relationship feels stable, but it doesn't progress. A while ago, I talked about lateral relationships. Lateral relationships make you feel like the relationship is moving forward. And for women that are unfamiliar with the machinations of men, sometimes they take lateral moves as moving forward, and they fall for it. This drifter guy, he is magnificent at making lateral moves with women, and if they're not careful, they're going to think they're moving forward with a man. And there's no clear direction, there's no intentional next steps, no increasing commitment. And because he's kind and respectful, and he's not chaotic or disrespectful, he's not cheating, he's not violent or anything like that, you think, okay, this is healthy. I could do this. But, ladies, a healthy relationship that's not going anywhere still isn't going anywhere. Let me rewind that so you can catch it. Listen, doves. A relationship, no matter how healthy it is, if it's not going anywhere, it's still not going anywhere. And over time, you're going to become emotionally attached without gaining actual commitment. And this doesn't mean he's a bad person, it just means he's not moving forward. Let's talk about the benefitter. Oh Lord, the benefitter. The benefitter, he gets the benefits of having you in his life without providing the clarity of being a husband. Yikes. So he enjoys your emotional support. He enjoys your availability, your loyalty, your presence in his life. But his level of investment is not matching the level of access that he has to you. And there's an imbalance there. The imbalance is going to look like you're integrating him into your life and your future, and he's enjoying what you offer in the present. Catch it, rewind it, what I just said. That's important. So, what you're doing is you're deepening your commitment, but he's just maintaining status quo. This is important. I think this one is probably the most common. If we want to be, I see this more than any other one. You're building, you're deepening your loyalty, your commitment to him, but it's not really moving. He's just maintaining the status quo on his end. He's doing the bare minimum. Put it a 1 in the chat if you've heard about this. Okay? And because he treats you well, he calls, he shows up, he includes you. And girl, on Valentine's Day, he shows out. You can make the rest of the women in the office jealous because he sent the biggest bouquet. Honey, that used to put me in a tizzy sometimes when I was back in the office in corporate America, honey. Come Valentine's Day, everybody that never talked about a man all of a sudden had a man on Valentine's Day. And of course, he was going above and beyond for them, sending the biggest flowers and sending the biggest. Listen. And I was like, wait, I didn't even know she had a man, but okay, I'm with it. And then the next day, and then the next weekend, they're talking about who's new. All of it is a facade, ladies. Don't fall for it. Now I won't say all of it. All of it. Some of it was, but some of it was performative. You know that, right? And a lot of it, ladies, a lot of Valentine's Day gestures you see, I don't want you to get bent out of shape because a lot of it is performative. A lot of it is the man just doing the status quo. When she get home, he won't even be there. The weekend will come, he'll be city boys up. What? He's undependable. He's undependable. He's missing when she needs him. Listen, it's performative. He's doing the status quo. He's a benefitter. When he needs her, Guess what? She's going to be in formation. What do you need me to do? What do you need me to say? What phone calls do you need me to make? Oh, let me handle it. I'll take care of it. Yeah, I was going to spend time with my girls, but that's okay. I got you. I'll spend time with you. Oh, you want me to cut back on work? I will cut back on work just so I can be available to you. Whatever you need me to do, baby, I'm there. Meanwhile, he's maintaining status quo. Watch yourself, ladies. Watch yourself. Watch yourself, baby. And I'm saying this with love. You know some of this stuff I'm saying because I went through it. I went through it. I went through it. And because he treats you so good, girl, you think his intentions are serious. But access to you isn't the same as commitment, Dove. The result is going to be delayed commitment. Not because he's malicious. Okay, he's not saying that, oh, let me wake up. He's not waking up saying, oh, let me figure out ways to break her heart. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying he's comfortable. Okay, he's comfortable. All right, now let's talk about the next one. Let's talk about the next one. The next one is the delayer. The delayer, he does want you. Of course he wants you. You're fabulous. Look in the mirror. You're fabulous. Okay? Who wouldn't want you, right? He might even say he sees a future with you. Okay? He talks about someday. But when the timing is right, after this next thing, next month will be our time. Next year will be our time. Give me 5 years. Give me 2 years. Give me till I get this paid off. Give me till little JoJo grows up. Give me till blah 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 blah. And that'll be our time. There's real affection between you two, maybe even consistency, but there's no mutually agreed upon timeline or plan. So you just allowing him to just freestyle it through your life. Does that make sense? You're allowing him to freestyle it through your life. And so, without a timeline, there's no real trajectory. A man can be emotionally invested in a woman and still not be ready to move forward. Always remember that. A man can be emotionally invested and still not be ready to move forward. This is not about whether he loves you or not. This is not about whether he cares about you. I introduced you to my cousin Bobo. You know I love you, girl. That's not what this is about. I bought you that Hermes bag. You know I love you. You can't hardly get those bags. And I got the special bag. What's the special bag by them that everybody wants? I forgot the name of it. The special style. I got that style for you. I had to wait in line. I had to fight people to get that bag for you, girl. You know I love you. That's not what this is about. I took you to Paris, France. I let you stay at the hotel Shangri-La that overlooks the Eiffel Tower. Girl, I took you on a shopping spree to Harrods. Like, baby, I love the Kelly bag, thank you. I love you, girl. That's not what this is about. That's not what this is. This is not about love. He can be emotionally invested in you and still not be ready to move forward. And so, what the outcome is going to be is going to be you still staying in a holding pattern and you don't even recognize it because you're so patient. And this is the part that most women miss. These men aren't villains, they're not bad guys. Please understand that. They're not bad guys. Oh, Nicole, yes, they are. No, they're not. They're not bad guys. They're not like setting out to purposely hurt you. They're not manipulative monsters in the way that the culture kind of pushes it forward. Not in this particular instance. They're just patterns you need to evaluate based on direction, not feelings. You're not dumping him or making a decision about him because he's not a great guy. They're just patterns you need to evaluate based on direction, not feelings. And this matters especially if you're capable and self sufficient, because when you're disciplined and loyal, you can tolerate ambiguity longer than you should. You can handle it, you can be patient, and you can wait it out. But listen, marriage isn't built on your ability to endure uncertainty. Let me say that again. I'm glad I wrote that down in my notes. The marriage, ladies, the marriage that we're talking about, that's healthy, that's long lasting, that is going to build you up and make you feel better, and that marriage is not built on your ability to endure questions and be in the dark and be unsure and be insecure and feel some type of way because the relationship isn't moving forward. That's not how marriages are built. It's built on mutual, intentional direction. You know where you want to go, and he knows where he wants to go, and they're both aligned because you both want to go the same direction. That's what marriage is built on. And so here's another hard part that I want you ladies to digest. It's easy to spot these patterns when you're on the outside looking in. It's easy for me to say now that I've experienced it and gone through it. But when I was going through it, it wasn't easy for me at all. It wasn't easy, and I needed people to help me through it. Okay, it wasn't you know my favorite thing to go through. Right? It's much harder when you're emotionally invested. I get it. Attachment clouds our judgment, and hope softens our boundaries. We hope it's going to work. We hope this is the one. We hope that we can finally stop dating and get out of this marriage market and finally meet our guy. That's what we hope. And then we're comfortable, so that delays necessary decisions. And that's why just knowing these categories, that's not going to be enough, ladies. Discernment is a skill, and like any skill, it needs to be developed. You hear me? Okay? It's not enough to just recognize these. We have to figure out a way around it. And that's why I created the Future Wives Club, because that way we can go down in the rabbit hole. Some things don't need to be said in the open square, because a lot of people aren't ready for meat. They're still on baby food. In the Future Wives Club, we're on meat and potatoes. Matter of fact, we're on steak and potatoes. All right. Some people still need baby food and vegetables. Baby food and potato chips. A lot of people on potato chips. A lot of people are still on that. They need that. Not knocking that, but they need that. We're on potatoes. We're on steak and potatoes, pot roast. We're on, beef Wellington. Look, that's what we're on right now. We're on vegetarian select diets in the Future Wives Club, because we are preparing for the life, not technically, I'm using a metaphor. We are preparing to be wives, and so we're just going a little bit deeper. Some stuff can't be said in the open square because everybody's not ready, right? We can't force feed that kind of stuff when people are just only ready for baby food. All right, and so this is exactly why I created the Future Wives Club. It's not to bash men. As a matter of fact, we do the opposite in the Future Wives Club. It's not to make you feel bad about where you are. It's actually the opposite, but to help you evaluate relationships clearly before you've invested months and years and getting sad and, oh, woe is me, what's going on? I don't want you to feel that way. You come in the Future Wives Club with questions, and you leave with clarity and a ring, period. We won't stop until you get it. Shout out to the ladies that are in serious relationships right now. They are in the right spot. Inside, we don't just name the patterns. We help you assess trajectory calmly and confidently without second guessing yourself. So high functioning women like yourselves, you don't struggle with intelligence. You struggle with misaligned hope. Misapplied hope, I'm sorry. And if you're realizing you've been in something that feels good but isn't actually progressing, that's awareness. That awareness is valuable. And if you want support making decisions from clarity instead of emotion, that's what the Future Wives explore. So remember this. A man can be good and still not be your husband. And good isn't the goal. Marriage is. Okay? Um, Let me see if we have time for the checklist. See if we have time for the checklist. You ready to take the trajectory test? Let's see. Let's see if you're ready. Let's see if we have any questions in here. Let me see if you're ready for the test. I'm trying to debate if I want to do the test. I want to do this. It's to test you ladies live. Don't want to do that. Hold on. I'm thinking. I'm thinking. It's a few pillars here. Um, that the test. I take you through the test that I created that will help you decide if to get you to your bottom line, to decide if this is a guy that you want to move forward with or if this is a guy that you just want to let go and reevaluate some things. It's four things. I will tell you, it's four things that you need that I was going to test you for, and that's intention, investment, integration, and timeline. But I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do it. I changed my mind. Let me see what we can do. I think we'll do this. We're going to do decision lanes. I thought about this, and this is the decision. Clarity is important. I thought about this, and we may do this. Let's talk about the lanes. We're going to do the lanes instead. We're going to do the other stuff inside the Future Wives Club probably in our next master class. We might do it that way. Because the test might be a little bit too much for YouTube. So we're going to do it in Future Wives Club. But let's do the decision lane. Let's say you're trying to make a decision. Let's do the lanes, okay? Because clarity is going to be empowering, but it's also disruptive. And once you see the trajectory clearly, you cannot unsee it. So let's just say we just took the test. You've just determined, okay, one of the red flags popped up. And you want to decide which lane you want to stay in. And there's 3 lanes. We're going to talk about them. When you're in a good relationship without clear direction, there are only 3 lanes. It's not 10. It's not 5. It's 3. Let's talk about the first one. The first one is the stay lane. This lane is rare. And let's say you've been dating this guy for 2 years. Everything's great. Everybody's telling you, this is your husband, girl. He's a good man, Savannah. Like, all the signs are great. Like, you don't have any complaints. It's been going on 2 years and he hasn't popped the question. And it doesn't seem like he's moving forward anytime soon. You stay only when the marriage is clearly desired by both of you. The trajectory is visible. The timeline is active, and his actions consistently align with his words, not occasionally, consistently. Staying is not passive. Okay? That's when you stay. It is intentional continuation because direction is confirmed. Many women, they're going to stay without confirmation. You only stay when you have confirmation. You stay because leaving feels risky. That's not lane A. If you're staying because it's too risky, you're staying because you're trying to avoid something, that's not line A. That's not lane A, I'm sorry. That's not the stay lane. I'm not telling you to stay because you're afraid to start over. I'm telling you to stay when everything's aligned. You have an understanding. Everything's going well, and you have no questions. You're on the same path. Everything's aligned, and it's continuation, right? And consistency. Then there's lane B, where you set terms. And I would say this is the most common lane, and it is also the most misunderstood. So let's talk about it. When you're setting terms, okay, this is not threatening. Okay, you're not threatening him. You're not throwing ultimatums at him. I've seen that before. This is not emotional, and you're not reactive. It's just getting clarity. So you're not asking him to choose you, choose me or her, choose me or your job. That's not what we're doing. You're not revealing what you require. All right, you're not laying down the law. It's not you better choose me or we're not doing that. Because there is a difference. And here is where most women mess this up. They attempt to set terms from anxiety. Okay? They're listening to the culture. They're listening to mama and them. They're listening to TV. Right? They feel like there's pressure. So then they come at their guy with pressure. And he can feel it too. He just can't put it into words. But he can feel it, and it's unattractive. And so a lot of times he's pushing back not because of he doesn't agree with you or doesn't want to marry you or doesn't love you and all that other stuff. It's because he's pushing back because he knows you're coming from your energy is anxious. And he's responding to that more so than what you're saying. And so what will happen, most women, they'll soften their standards mid-conversation when they feel some pushback from the guy. Or they over-explain to avoid seeming intense. And instead of clarity, they create tension. The issue is not the conversation. It is the posture behind which you have the conversation. And this is why so many women believe they had the talk, but nothing changed. Because in this type of situation, your delivery does matter as much as what you're saying to them. Okay? You need some help with that? You got to come talk to me in the Future Wives Club. We got to get you to the finish line. And let's talk about lane C, and this is leave. Do you leave? Ladies, let's be clear. Leaving is not punishment. Leaving is alignment. Right? Leaving is alignment. You do not leave because he's bad, ladies. You leave because your future is sacred. You want to be a wife. You want to be a mother. And I want to say this gently. Many women do not leave when the trajectory is actually absent because they're afraid of what it means about them. They're afraid of starting over. They're afraid of being alone. You know the stuff we talked about. Afraid of being misjudged. You can't keep a man. You're never going to get married. You're going to die alone. You're going to be a cat mama. You're going to be a dog mama. All of these things start scaring them. But staying in something undefined, it doesn't protect you, Dove. It actually delays you. So the longer you stay in a relationship delayed, the more far off your marriage, your real marriage actually is. That happened to me where it was a situation where I was trying to force a square peg into a round hole, and I really had to come to a decision that this is never going to move forward. This is me pushing it, not him. And I can stay here if I want to because he's fine with it. And technically I could swing this. I could frame it a certain way to where my audience will accept it. Now I look like a hypocrite, but a lot of people will have accepted it. Oh, he's cute. Oh, she's cute. Oh, they have a big house. Oh, they have this and that. And so you could frame it that way, and I could live with it, right? But I really wasn't happy with that. And so once I had that moment where I was really honest with myself, I said, wait, this isn't what I want. And the only way I'm going to get the man that actually loves me enough to marry me is to dump this joker. And it's no, hard feelings against him. I mean, if I saw him on the street, be like, hey, how you doing? It's no hard feelings at all. But I knew that was a decision I was going to have to make because, hey, he was maintaining the status quo, like we talked about. And it was on me to make the decision to what we're going to do. That's right. Once you leave, you don't go back. Yes, that's absolutely true. He says hunting for fleeces, waiting for a divine sign to make a decision. Yeah, waiting for divine signs and all of these things when we really know deep in our heart the decision we have to make. So let's do an authority. Let's do a pivot here. Now, here is what I've observed over the years mentoring women. The lane you choose is rarely the real issue, okay? The real issue is most women cannot accurately assess which lane they're actually in because they think they're in lane A, but there's no timeline. Or they think they're setting terms, but they're actually negotiating from fear. Or they think they're choosing to stay, but they're actually avoiding loss. And that is not a character flaw, it's just a blind spot. And so that's why I created the blind spot, which is something I wish I had when I was out here dating. I wish I had something I could turn to that would just pinpoint exactly what I needed to work on instead of me having to guess. Because I could listen to one podcast and be like, oh, that's my problem. Let me work on that. And then I listen to another podcast and go, no, 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 that's my problem. And then after I listen to enough podcasts trying to guess what my problem was or go to this coach and that coach trying to figure out what was wrong with me, I either got depressed because I'm like, well, all this stuff is wrong with me. I'll never get married. Or I'm working on something that isn't my problem. I wanted something that was precise and exact and could diagnose exactly what I needed to work on, not make me run from here, there, and everywhere trying to figure out what's wrong with me. Because you know what? That wastes time. And when you're in your 30s, that's the last thing you want to hear is this is going to take time. No. So I created something, a tool that I wish I had had when I was single that take me right to it in less than an hour. I knew exactly what I needed to work on. This is precisely why I created the Blind Spot to Bride, because sometimes it's not the man. Sometimes it's not the man. Sometimes it's just one pattern that's just keeping you from being single. Just one. It could be overgiving. It could be under requiring. It could be avoiding clarity or tolerating delay longer than you should. It could be staying in a relationship. You just don't have the courage enough to leave. It could be. Could be. Most women don't need more dating advice. You just don't. You don't need any more do 5 things to do this, say this to do that, do this on your. Some of you don't need that. You just need to know exactly what you need to work on in order to get married. Shout out to Coach Chrissy D. Thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Thank you for your ministry, Nicole. Thank you so much. You're welcome, baby. I love this. I love this. I win when you win, Coach. I win when you win. All right, and we're winners over here, so that's what it is. Blind Spot the Bride helps you identify the exact internal pattern that's keeping you in indefinite dating. Aren't you tired of having to go through fixing your profile and trying to figure out, is it this picture? Is it that picture? What do I say on my profile? Oh, how do I get him to call me from the app? How do I get him to ask me out? You meet this guy out, how to get him to approach you, that first phone conversation, going out on a date, finding out he's a weirdo, then you have to start all over again. Aren't you tired of that? Or going out on a date with a guy that's seemingly perfect and then for some reason he stops calling and you're like, wait, what just happened? Aren't you tired of that? I know I was. Aren't you tired of repeating that? Because if you do not correct the blind spot, what you'll do is recreate the same relationship in a different body. You'll just keep going in circles and that's exhausting. So let's talk about the conversation itself. Hold on just 1 second. Drink a Kool-Aid. Why is my mouth so pasty today? All right, so let's talk about the conversation. You're going to state your intention calmly, directly, without apology. Not as pressure, not as demand, not as identity. A marriage focused woman does not hide that she is marriage focused. She does not present it aggressively, she presents it clearly. If stating your intention feels terrifying, that is information. Okay? You're going to ask what his intentions are. And then you listen. Not to correct, not to persuade, not to negotiate. You listen for alignment. And here is where most women struggle. They hear what they hope he means instead of what he actually says. I cannot stress that enough. You know why a lot of women are still single? As a professional, as talking to thousands of women, I can tell you one of the main reasons, I agree, sir. One of the main reasons why a lot of women are single, and I say this gently and with love, they hear what they hope he means, not what he actually said. So discernment requires emotional steadiness. And if you cannot hear an answer without spiraling out of control, you are not ready to evaluate what he's actually saying. And here's the third part. This is where trajectory becomes visible. Is there shared movement? Is he emotional? Is he unsure? Is there structure? Is there, or are we just close to each other? We just have an affinity for each other. Like, what's between us? What is the direction? What's here? Marriage is built on structure, not just chemistry. That's another reason that women kind of get confused. Because the chemistry is high, that means there must be something between us. Now, let me be very honest with you. Most women do not fail because they do not know what to say. They fail because they cannot hold their posture while saying it. They don't know when to say it. They don't know how the energy shifts when fear rises or the tone changes under pressure. And after the conversation, instead of feeling clear, they're going to feel more confused. And that is not because clarity is wrong. It's because regulation is missing. Their emotions are out of whack. And so if he doesn't respond the way she feels he should respond, she starts second guessing what she's saying, or she gets defensive and they start arguing. And so this is why I created the Future Wives Club, because knowing this framework is not enough. You need space to process your situation calmly. Thank goodness that young lady that I talked about early is in the Future Wives Book Club, because now we can help her in these conversations so that she can get in a relationship that's going to lead to marriage. Shout out to Phineas Henshaw, my brother. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Leaving should be exercised at the point early on where it is determined relationship goals are misaligned. I agree. People like to have relationships based on misunderstandings. Ooh, that's a good one. So are you saying people like to be in the dark? Because that's a live stream right there by itself. Are people happily in the dark and happily under misunderstood? Are they happy with that? People like to be in the dark and kind of guess. You know, I've said a while ago, I said the way the culture tells people to enter relationships now is we meet, we're attracted to each other, we have sex, and then we figure the rest out later. Well, that benefits you or if you're in the dating sexual market, and it definitely benefits you in the dark market, but it doesn't necessarily fit you. It doesn't fit you in the marriage market. The marriage market is completely different from the other markets. Ladies, we've talked about the other markets before. Go back and review that chart. We don't move that way, and that's why we cherish our bodies, we cherish our time, and we don't move that way. We move from clarity from day one. From the moment he sees our profile, from the moment he sees us across the room, intention is set. Everything is a message. We're saying exactly what we're saying from day one. without saying it. All right, there's no confusion. Our conversation is just confirmation of everything else he's seen and picked up on. Understand? So we don't have the fun and then figure the business out later. We handle business and then we have fun in the marriage. Does that make sense? So that's why I created the Future Wives Club to kind of iron these things out. Because if you need refinement in how you evaluate your answers, you're going to need a space to do that without judgment, without people, with all these dating questions and all that stuff in the way. You need a space where you can really dissect your relationship and see if you're wasting your time or if give it the green light. There have been people that have reached out to me and said, Miss Nicole, I need your wisdom. And matter of fact, my latest bride, she reached out to me and she said, I need your help. I have 2 suitors. What do I do? And I said, that one's your husband. The other one, and you feel it and you know what I'm saying is true. I'm just giving you the cosign and I'm confirming what you already felt in your gut. And you just needed a third party because you were unsure. But I'm telling you, that other guy, that man love you. I love him. Well, baby, you better start showing it. You love that man, you better start showing it. And lo and behold. So this is what I'm talking about. Sometimes we need a little bit of guidance. It's like Naomi did Ruth. Ruth was out there getting her work on, working OT, doing everything. She wasn't paying attention to Boaz, child. She didn't have time to go to the break room to be cute. She was out there in those fields doing what she had to do. And Naomi was like, you work for Boaz? Oh, that's my people. Oh, I know him. Oh, let me hook you up. She was like, me get married again? No. And she was like, no, just listen to me, girl. Listen to me, pretty girl. I got you. This is what you do. You an employee and they're having an employee party. They're having a gala and Boaz is going to be there. Oh, this is what you do. I'm your Naomi. I'm getting you ready for that gala to meet your Boaz. Right? Some of you already know your Boaz. You just need some direction. I promise you, some of you already know your Boaz. Some of you come to me already having a Boaz right there in your face, and you just need someone to kind of guide you. Like, hello? Not somebody telling you, ignore all of him. He need to jump through. He need to do this and do that. Sometimes he's just right there in front of your eyes. You just need some wisdom to kind of point it out. And sometimes you need wisdom to figure out how to position yourself so Boaz can find you. Because Ruth didn't find Boaz. Boaz found Ruth. Sometimes you need support holding your standards without becoming reactive. Inside the Future Wives Club, we walk through real-time discernment. No emotionality, and we walk through it structurally. So if you can have clarity, conversations without spiraling, threatening, or shrinking. We're not going to tell you to be submissive and lose who you are in a marriage and tell you to be a doormat for a man and beat you up for being successful. We teach you how to be successful in a relationship with a successful man. How about that? Not beating you up because you're successful. Yuck. And let's pull it on in here. Let's wrap it up. I do want to answer some questions. If you have some, here's what I want you to understand. Good is not the finish line, ladies. Marriage is. So, the moral of the story to this live that I want you to take away today is that just because it's good, it doesn't mean he's your husband. And there's one thing I had to learn too when I was dating. Everybody you love, you can't be with. Just because you love him doesn't mean he's supposed to be the one. Men know this. They learned this at 6 years old. Like, just because I'm attracted to her doesn't mean she's supposed to be my girlfriend. Just because she's hot doesn't mean she's supposed to be my wife. Smart men learned this a long time ago. It's only ignorant men who go around thinking she has to be hot and that's supposed to be his wife. Every hot woman is supposed to be his wife. Smart men know that's not the be all the end all of a woman's value. Right? They learn early on, especially successful men, they learn early on, just because she's hot doesn't mean she's supposed to be my wife. And just because she's great at networking and making money doesn't mean she's my wife. There's others things that happen just because we get along and I love spending time with her doesn't mean she's supposed to be my wife. They learn that. Ladies, we've got to learn that. Just because he's good looking and man, we have time, we have fun together, and it just seems like everything's perfect. Girl, if he's not moving forward, is it really good though? If you're not getting what it is you need. And if you want marriage, you must move like a woman preparing for marriage, not a woman hoping a good relationship becomes one. Let me say this one more time, slow. If you want marriage, you must move like a woman preparing for marriage, not a woman hoping and praying a good relationship is going to turn into a marriage. That's not how we enter marriage. Okay? All right, so there's a couple of more things I'm going to talk about really quick. Y'all have some time today? Some men are going to marry the next woman because she requires clarity early. This is when the relationship fizzles out or you decide to walk and then you take a look back and you go, what just happened? I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. Some men, I'm going to tell you right now so you don't have to guess. Some men marry the next woman because she requires clarity early on. That's what Phineas was talking about in his super chat when he said leaving should be exercised at a point. That woman is telling him up front, look, use the pot or get off of it. Use the pot or get off of it. My mom's advice helped me get 2 husbands, my second husband. I used the same structure with the first one. That didn't work out. Now we're on our second one. Same structure. I said, Mom, nobody says that. Ooh, nobody says that anymore. This is not the 1950s. She said everything's the 1950s. I said, use the pot and get off of it. And I found myself saying that. Use the pot or get off of it, sir. It's okay if you don't want to. That's fine, but I'm moving around, so it's not keeping me. And then, no, Some men are going to marry the next woman, and she's going to lay down the law. She's going to say, hey, use the pot or get off of it. Some men are going to marry the next woman because they were ready later. They happened to get ready after they got with you. And that's not because you weren't enough. It's just because he's ready now. That, have you seen those situations where he was with a woman for 6 years and then broke up with her and then married another woman in 6 months? People like to say, oh, she was prettier. Oh, she was better than you and things like that. What you did was, the longer you stayed in a relationship that was uncertain, that was undetermined, and it had no structure, the longer you stayed in that and allowed him, it was allowed him to get himself together on your watch. You helped him become the husband that woman is going to need. You've helped him turn into this. If that doesn't give you motivation to make a decision, I don't know what is. The longer you stay in an undetermined relationship, you are preparing him to get with the woman that he really wants. Ouch. Now, that doesn't mean you're not it doesn't mean that you don't deserve love. It doesn't mean you're not enough. None of that. It gives him time. The problem is the time works against you and it works for him. Because the time, yes, a placeholder. We talked about this. We talked about this about 3 years ago. That video was like 3 hours long. And I broke down to you placeholders. Are you a placeholder? I broke that down. What you do is prepare him for the next woman. Ladies, have you ever seen a man leave a woman? She lays down the law. He's like, man, you desperate, man. I ain't ready, man. You would have put a title on everything, man. Man, we got a good thing right here. You're like, no, you got to go. You got to go. You know that man can't keep his mind off that woman. He never can really move on. She stays the woman that got away. I remember dating this one guy. And I felt kind of intimidated when he told me the story. And I said, did you, and I made the mistake of asking him, did you have a woman that you felt like the one that got away? And I thought he was going to say me. But he said, no, there was a woman that I met when I was young and out here doing my thing. And I had made a date with her. And she was very rigid, and I knew I had to come correct with her. But for some reason, I just felt like I was tired of her rules. So we had a date set up, and this is back when Atlanta was popping. It was popping. I would say this was late. He says it was the late '90s. He said so. He was like, I just showed up around 7:30, but our date was 6 o'clock. And when she opened the door, and he said, "Yeah, what's up? Let's go." And she was like, "I have other plans. I have a date in 30 minutes. I rescheduled. I made some other plans, alternative plans where you need to show up at 6 o'clock." And he was like, "What?" And she was like, "I gotta go." And she slammed the door in his face. And at first, he was kind of cocky, and he was like, "Yeah, whatever." But it sat with him that she didn't accept that, because all the other women did. All the other women moved their schedules around. They put up with him and his cocky behavior. But this one woman who said, "No, I have other plans. I got something else to do." It didn't matter whether she was going out on a date or not. That's not the point. It doesn't matter if there was another guy in the horizon. It was in the horizon. It was the fact that you don't get to waste my time. I told you about the time that guy tried to stand me up in Atlanta. Yeah, and I told you about that. But I promise you, he must have called me like 20 times after that. He thought I was playing. And I was so like looking at the sun, like I was looking up, and I was like, why? Why do I always get these people who want to play games? Why couldn't he just make it to the restaurant? And I can't remember the name of it was a French cafe on Peachtree, downtown Peachtree. What is the name of that cafe? It was like a French cafe where you have coffee and cake and things like that, downtown Atlanta. I can't remember the name of it. Cafe Intermezzo. Why couldn't he just be there? What is wrong with these people? I was so frustrated. And I'm sitting there looking at the phone. He's calling. I'm like, nope. Nope, because if I accept it now, I will trade myself to accept this type of behavior. I will not, and I shall not. I don't care how long I'm single. Cafe Intermezzo. I will not stand for this behavior. I don't care if I'm 65 years old. If we have a date, you will not stand me up. Hopefully, I'm not going to be dating at 65. But I'm just saying, I don't care how old I am. You will not stand me up. That will be an indicator that you care about me, or at least care about getting to know me, that you can make it on time. Even when Tony and I were courting long term, if he said he was going to call me at a certain time, he called me at that time. Period. Either way, a woman, she's going to lose her power when she stays where she's not chosen intentionally. The longer you stay in a relationship where you're not chosen, you're losing power. Let's look at these comments right quick. Boundaries and self-respect. Exactly. The threefold card of marriage is hard to get now. Many interruptions. When people are intentional, they let you know where they stand and where you stand with them. Pay attention to actions over words. Exactly. Pay attention to his actions. Okay. So, this is where you position. Hang on. I need to put my glasses on. That is where you're going to position yourself as a wife, is when you're setting up those boundaries and setting those parameters. There's no need to beat him up. There's no need to have an attitude. There's no need to fuss about men. It's just this. It is what it is. It's time to move on. That's it. Sometimes it's one blind spot keeping you in indefinite dating, whether it's attachment, fear, overgiving, poor vetting, unclear standards. And the Blind Spot the Bride program is going to help you identify that one thing, and it's going to correct it. So if you're interested in the Blind Spot the Bride, we have a special offer for those of you joining me live. Go ahead and click the attached link at the top. And the Feminine Elite Society app is more about coaching you on your social standing for those of you that want to increase your social capital, how you stand up professionally and in social circles. It also has Naomi AI who will help you with conversations. It'll help you, it'll teach you. I've trained her on soft skills and conversations, the small talk. That's what I was talking about. I've trained Naomi on teaching you how to do small talk, teaching you how to romantic talk, teaching you conversations with texting, your online dating profile, how you want to show up in your own words. It will help you, and she's going to train you and she's gonna, when she gives you output, she explains to you why she's telling you to say this. You can plug in your whole entire texting chain. You can post it into Naomi and she can tell you, okay, based on that conversation, this is what you need to say next. All right. Some of you kind of need that, because sometimes you can say stuff and put your foot in your mouth, and sometimes you need a little direction. And it's not because what you're saying is wrong, it's how you're saying it or when you're saying it, or it might be a high intense conversation. You might need to take it down a little peg. Naomi helps you with those soft skills. Okay? Naomi helps you with those soft skills. So she's inside the Feminine Elite Society app, and the app is more coaching. So it's going to be more things about wardrobe and where to hang out. I put some things in there, some galas coming up that I think you ladies will benefit from. I told you ladies about the some things. I'll tell you later, but there's some things coming up you ladies should be a part of. Are you going to the Kentucky Derby? I plan to. Maybe I'll see you there. All right. So, if you know you've been offering wife benefits in girlfriend season, then you need to get the Good Girl Method. I do have the Good Time Girl Rehab in there, and that's because some women, this is not a beat up session or to say you're wrong no, it's just you are realigning. You're getting ready to prepare to be a wife. So some things you're going to have to work through, and some things you're just going to have to shed. Like you're entering into your wife era. And so some things you can't carry into your wife era. Right? And some of that is city girl, and some of that is appearance, and some of that is conversation and all that. The Good Time Girl Rehab is going to take you through that. Some of that might be confidence. Some of it is, from trauma and things that you were taught that's not in alignment with being a wife. And we gently take you through that process of turning into a woman that any man will be proud to put a ring on. Okay? Good is not the finish line, ladies. Marriage is. Remember that. So if you want marriage, you must move like a woman who's preparing for the biggest role of her life. Let's see what the chat is saying. I'm done. You plan to go to the Kentucky Derby? Okay, I hope to see you there. The Kentucky Derby is a hop, skip, and a jump from where I am now. I'm in Ohio now. When I was in Atlanta, it was a little bit more challenging, but I'm in Ohio right now. It's like literally Louisville is about about 3 hours from here. So Ohio is like the perfect. It's situated perfect. So I didn't realize I was that close to. So may fall through there and see some things. I've always wanted to go to the Kentucky Derby. These are the things, ladies, that you need to go to. It's a couple of other events, ladies. You need to be in the building. You need to go. Have some fun. Go. That money that you're spending going to these concerts, no shade, no tea. They're wonderful, right? But some of you need to, and some of you are already going to work-related functions. You're already going to those things. But sometimes you need to go to some things where you can put on a couture gown and take some nice photos and You need to go. That's It's good for your feelings. It's good to be around people. It might be a charity function. It might be, some of you are already playing golf on Saturday. Some of you are already playing pickleball. Go ahead and get you a tennis coach. Go ahead. Go ahead, join the country club. Put your name on the waiting list. Pay that 10 G's. Go ahead and do it. It's an investment, right? Your future children will be glad that you put your name on the list they inherit that. And a lot of times that networking and getting to know the people inside of these organizations help your children. Sometimes it might be a school that you want your children to get on, and they so-called have a waiting list, but because you know some people that you go to these events with, and these organizations with, you can get into these places. Some of you want to marry successful men. You need to be prepared for that life. And we're gonna take you through that process. And Future Wives Club, we're gonna break down all the husband archetypes and which one is best for you. Some of you are chasing after an archetype that's not for you. Some of you are actually dating down. You actually should aspire to more successful men, and this is why you're having issues where you're high functioning, people look to you to solve problems and things like that. You will probably be better suited for an executive, and you're dating, the guy, a different type of archetype that doesn't really, he kind of doesn't know what to do with that competence in you. He kind of looks at it as competition, not competence, not femininity. So he attacks your femininity. He attacks how you show up, but that's how you show up. It doesn't mean that you're not feminine. It just means that's how you're showing up. And that's how you are a helpmeet. That's how you show love to your man. And it's not, that's you replacing your femininity with that. That is just, you're just a high functioning individual, a high functioning woman. And you can't help that you would rather be sending emails to important people than, I don't know, working at a flower shop. That one is not better than the other, is what I'm saying. And some of you ladies have been accused of not being feminine. You're not soft enough because you're high functioning. But I want to kind of share something with you ladies. You need to get in the Future Wives Club, because I'm gonna break down to you. Some of you ladies, you're actually dating men who don't appreciate that. You actually need to date up. And it's not because those men are better. It's because they actually will appreciate what you bring to the table. They actually appreciate the competence that you are showing up with. It's not that you're not feminine. It's that the men you're with can't do anything with that level of confidence because they don't need it. They don't need it. They're good men. They're good men. They're good men. It's just that you and him are not mismatched. And I know why you're together. You're together because you have crazy chemistry. I get it. However, you all are going to burn each other out because he's going to tell you you're not masculine enough, and you're competing with him and you're trying to outdo him. And then he's going to tell you, and you're going to tell him he needs to make more money, and he's this and that and that and that and that and that and that. And the only thing good between you is the sex and the jokes. Outside of that, you two do not see eye to eye. What I'm telling you ladies is you need Naomi, that is moi, to help you work through that, because some of you just, nobody's told you that you probably better suited with a man that owns a business or an executive, or just tweak a few things, and that's actually you. You're better suited with him because he's going to say, what? You know how to run a board meeting? You know how to do this? You know how to do that? Wait, you have your own business? You know how to start an LLC? You know how to do this? You know how to do that? What? You've gone to this country. You know what this is. You know that he's like he has a light bulb at the top of his head. Like, oh my God, she's beautiful, she's stunning, and she knows how to do these things. The last thing he's going to tell you is you're not feminine. He's going to say, baby, if you didn't have these things, I wouldn't be sitting here this long with you. You are a blessing to my life. You're going to understand these things. Okay, so I'm just saying that's what your Naomi is here for, to help you through that, because a lot of times the culture will guilt trip a lot of beautiful women and tell them, oh, you're masculine, your education doesn't matter, and all of these ugly things. and beat you up for being successful and high functioning. And sometimes you feel like something's wrong with you because you're high functioning and because you're the go-to in your family and because people trust you to handle things. So you feel something is wrong with you. Nothing is wrong with you, baby. You might just be mismatched. And you need people to iron that out for you and help you understand that a little bit better. And in our culture, we beat people up for strategically dating, and we've got to get away from that. I don't do that. I do not beat women up for strategically dating. It is how you place yourself in the market that actually determines what kind of suitors you get. Okay? Who goes to the junkyard and expect, okay, come on. Some things, some conversations we've outgrown, and we just need to be big girls and big boys and understand that it is what it is. This world is highly competitive. This world, look, and people are strategically moving out here. Look, we're looking to colonize the space. And you sitting up here talking about women are wrong for dating strategically. Something's wrong with you. You need to get on it. I don't think this wrong with men dating strategically. I mean, I don't know if men dating for money but men have been dating for money for a long time. They've been doing that for years. It's nothing new. It's just something that we don't talk about. We just expect that in certain factions of society. We expect that to be. But baby, let's grow up a little bit here. And here we have adult conversations about what's real out here. And what's real is some of you need to be brave, put that couture gown on, and go to these events. And don't. Some things you need to get away from, and some things you need to embrace. And we help you march into that season, because some of you, your husband will be in that room, and you never. And in certain spaces in society, we don't push. Some men need to put on a tux and go to some of these rooms and some of these spaces. Some of these men, you need to put on a suit. You have a business and you need people. Listen, y'all not ready. But what I'm saying is, some of you ladies, your husband will be in those rooms, but there was no one to tell you how to maneuver. And because you belong in those rooms, they just said be sexy and it's supposed to come. That's like 10% of it. It's like 90% of information. What are you doing? Instead of going to Miami, why don't you go to the Kentucky Derby? Like, I'm not poo-pooing on those things. I'm saying you are positioning yourself to be a wife, not a city girl, not a party girl, none of that. Those things are for that. You are ushering into your wife era. This is grown woman time, grown woman talk. And I'm saying some of you, I don't like people to assume everybody's husband is going to be the same, because they won't. Some of you are going to marry highly successful, highly functioning men, and you need to be ready for that life. I see people all the time, and I know some of you are listening to me and you want to be private. You don't want everybody to be in your business. That's fine. Reach out to me. I understand privacy. I got you. If it's an NDA you need to sign, I got you. But one thing, go to www.theinnerbeautymovement.org if you want to work with me. And if you want to see all the products that we order, you can go there, or mrsnicolemichelle.com. Either or is fine. But it's time to have this conversation about where you stand. And in the Future Wives Club, we have these conversations so that you ladies are ready for that. Because I didn't lie when I said most women are not going to get married. I can honestly stand by that 100%. The data backs me up on that. You can look at the numbers. It backs me up. The number of marriages backs me up. The number of single people versus married people backs me up. These are hard numbers, and I actually need to increase to 60%. And so you ladies that don't want to be in that 60%, I know you don't. That's why you're here. So therefore, it's time to restructure how we are showing up. Right? So I'm not going to apologize for telling you, look, Sometimes you got to get rid of that. And you can be professional, high functioning, but people can't tell because the culture has so much influence over you. You don't really show up like that. You show up like, I don't know, the girl on the block. And nothing's wrong with that, but is that how you want to show up? And then you're wondering why your relationships aren't working out because you may be with men who just, they're limited and they don't understand your world. I just have to be blunt. They just are limited and they just don't understand your world. And so you're guilt tripped into dating them, and it's time. And fellas, it's the same way with the men too. I get on them big time, big time. I get on y'all big time on other platforms. Like some of y'all, I'm so sick of y'all complaining about certain type of women, child. You need to put on a suit and go and do what you gotta do. You just do. I date strategically. I do not date for money. When I was dating, that is. Yeah. So, it's just time to, ladies, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate it. You're allergic to tuxedos? Well, you put on a suit. You can go certain galas. You just look at and make sure at the dress code. Sometimes you can go. They call it black tie optional. And if it's black tie optional, you can just wear a regular suit. And I would say black or dark gray or dark blue, which I have fell in love with lately. I love me some dark blue. OMG, I love me some dark blue. So blue is my new thing, and I've never really been into blue like that. So I don't know. I don't know if it's a phase or what, but I'm into blue, dark blue. The darker blue it is, like blue purple. I love it. Blue, 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 blue and white. Dark blue, blue and gold, blue and white. I love it. Blue and yellow, blue and pink, blue, 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 blue. I'm into blue. I still love my black. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, a tuxedo. Yes. Yes, a tuxedo on a man. I still have daydreams about my husband and his tuxedo on our wedding day. Wonderful. Wonderful. Suits on a man. Wonderful. Okay. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Chris Brown had a meet and greet for $100. Yeah, I mean, ladies, you're not going to spend $100 at that. I'm sorry. You're going to spend $100 at a gala where you can get in the room with some people that write checks that matter. Okay? That if they don't write a check, if they don't make a donation, the hospital doesn't run. Those kind of people, right? People that fund endowments. Okay, people that it's time for you to be strategic. Some of you are already in the rooms with these people for business. Maybe it's time for you to look at it for romance too, and that's okay. It really is. I'm giving you permission. Not that you need it, but it's time. And if you need a supportive space where you got to do this in quiet without people breathing down your neck, and what are you looking to, and everybody can tell what you looked at and what you did, you just want to do it privately. You just want to handle business. That's fine. Go right ahead. That's what the Feminine Elite Society app is for. It is private. It is private, and we have a new interface and everything, and feel free to jump on in there and look around. And some of you know about it because you get the morning affirmations and declarations. You get those things every morning. So we check in with you every morning for those of you on the app. So the app is more coaching. The app is it's tons of stuff to do on there. It's constantly being updated. Tons of stuff to do. And my spaces are curated for people who want to do things in private. And I get it because I'm like that. I don't want everybody in my business. I don't want everybody to know what I'm looking at. I don't want everybody to know what I'm working on. I don't want everybody to know who I'm talking to. Okay? I just want to do what I do in private and then pop out on 100. That's how I like to do. So I work with women that are kind of like that. They're kind of like, I don't want to be advertised. I don't want everybody to know my business. I have stuff on there for married women. Sometimes you don't want a place where the coach is going to put your face on everything and say, I'm working with this person. Sometimes you just don't. A lot of my clients just don't like all that. I work with a girl in TV. You will never know her name. She doesn't want you to know. She just wants you to see that rock. That's what she wants you to see. She doesn't want you to see that she worked with Nicole. She just wants to come out and boom, pow, I'm married. That's what it's all about, ladies. Sometimes people just don't want to be on Front Street when they're trying to get their lives together, and they want to work things out. Okay, you follow dress codes, yeah. Some of you like that kind of stuff. Some of you like those type of things, where you kind of dress up and things like that. I like to step out. Are you a stepper? Ladies, if you're a stepper, you kind of need to be with a man that is okay with stepping a little bit. But if you're with a man, he never wants to step, and you just, and he's just, that's going to irritate you for a while. Sometimes you want a man he's okay with stepping. Like, let's step out, baby. Let's put some clothes on and go out. And sometimes you can find little things like, Ohio has this thing. I don't know about other areas, but they have this candlelight concert that I told Tony I want to go to. I want to go to this candlelight concert. That's low energy, low. I don't have to really go all out. Like when we go to Columbus and go to functions there, I'm going all out. I'm bringing out the furs. I'm doing it. But stuff around here, I just kind of whatever. And the candlelight concert, I found it through TikTok. I know. I'm hardly on TikTok. But the time I went on TikTok, it's like, ooh, she's online. Let's hit her with every ad we can get. And that was one of the ads, was the candlelight concert. And I said, you know what? That's what we should do. And that's just low energy, something we could go to one day after he gets off work, and we could just kind of chill, and it's not, we have to go all out and something like that. Fellas, if you want to take a woman out, take her to a candlelight concert. Something like that. That's jazzy, it's classy, it's not extremely expensive, so you don't have to feel like she's using me for my money. Please. Be creative with your dates, and you can take her if she has on a nice casual outfit, or you can take her if she just left the office, or you can take her if she's dressed to the nines, if she's stepping. It doesn't matter. It's one of those events where you kind of create your own experience a little bit. They set the ambiance and you kind of create your own experience. I think that's really good. You meet people at the Harley Davidson dealers all the time. Yeah. Ladies, I'm telling you, it's so many creative ways to meet the fellas. The fellas are not going to be at singles events. They're not really checking for stuff like that anymore. They're not really checking for places where women are saying we want a man. They're just not. They're doing the actual opposite, which I told you 3 or 4 years ago, men are going to pull away. I told you this was going to happen, and we're here now. So women are just going to Miss Wit, yes, I'm excited about it, and I could just go and listen to the music. And I was a cellist in high school and college, so that kind of stuff, the strings and things like that. That I like that kind of stuff. And they play up the beat stuff. I think they're going to be playing stuff that I don't even listen to, kind of music, but I think it's going to be Kendrick Lamar and some more people, artists, but it's orchestra. It's orchestra music, and I think that is pretty cool, and it's going to be by candlelight. So I was like, yay, that sounds really fun, something different. So ladies, think outside the box. And if men are not really supporting dating events and stuff like that, which is no shade to that, I think those are awesome ideas, but if the men are not going to serve it and show up, then ladies, we have to be intentional about the places we show up, period. And that's what the Feminine Elite Society app is all about. You just go in and look around, and if you like it, download it. You still get the affirmations and things like that, but if you want to look around and be a part of it, it's tons of information on there. Tons and tons and tons and tons and tons. Books to read, everything. Lots of stuff. Downloadable books. A lot of my ebooks are on the app. You can download them for free on the app. So I feel like the Feminine Elite Society app is the best offer, because you pretty much get everything except the Future Wives Club and the programs. But in terms of coaching and um, activities and access to some of the ebooks, it's you get your money's worth and then some on the app. Okay, they have it in Atlanta. That's awesome. They have it there. Atlanta has just about everything. So it's one of the things I miss about Atlanta is the food. But ladies, um, let's do this. It's your time. Are you ready for your wife era? Let's do this. Get the good girl method. Let's sharpen your skills. Let's get you ready for wife preparation. You will see an invitation. You will get an invitation for the Future Wives Club once you have decided that you're going to get the Blind Spot to Bride or the Good Girl method. And then once you're in the Future Wives Club, baby, it's on. It's on. Get ready because we're going to get you to becoming a wife. No more getting upset at men. No more getting upset about the dating market because you're no longer in the dating market. You're in the marriage market. Let everybody else fuss about how men don't pay for dates and how they don't show up and how they just won't all the stuff they're complaining about men. Let them complain about that. In the marriage market, in the Future Wives Club, we're in the marriage market, so we're showing up completely different. We don't get all that stuff. We don't have to complain about dates because we get dates. We don't have to complain about cheat men because that's not our testimony. We don't know anything about that. We don't know anything about cheat men. We don't know anything about men who are not intentional. We don't know anything about men who are wasting our time. We don't know anything about men who we don't know anything. I'm sorry. I'm sorry you had to go through that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. He only wants sex. That is totally not my testimony. I'm sorry. That's going to be you now. I'm sorry. I don't experience that. I don't get that. The men who date me want to marry me. I'm sorry. Yeah, they just want sex. Yeah, they're just lazy and dusty. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. The guys I date are nice. Sometimes we just don't work out, but they're nice. Yeah, that's going to be you. And we're ready for it. Are you ready for it, ladies? Are you ready for that? So it's on you. And we get our newsletter. So if you're on the email list, go to theinnerbeautymovement.org and get the email list. Get on the email list so that you can get our newsletter. All right, ladies. I think I've answered all the questions here. You said you play the guitar. That's awesome. And you're a flutist. Oh wow. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Yeah, you don't know about those kind of men. Those kind of men. When you reach that level, you know your husband is just around the corner. When you can honestly say you don't meet men that are not intentional, you don't meet men that are cheap, you don't meet men that are wasting your time, you don't meet men like the men you are meeting. The quality of men have drastically increased. Your conversations are getting a little bit deeper and meaningful. You know your husband is around the corner. If they're still complaining about he's taking you on cheap dates, you got a ways to go, baby. It might be one of those situations, right? That's plain as I can put it. But when you've graduated in the quality of men that you are around, when that quality changes, you can feel an adjustment. People around you are getting married. You're not upset when Valentine's Day comes around because you know your time is you can feel it in your gut. Right before I met my husband, now husband, I could feel it in my gut that something was going to change. I just felt it. Something was going to happen. I just knew it. I didn't know what. And so I was just like, I don't know what's going to happen. Lord, prepare me for whatever happens. But I just feel good. Something's good about to happen. And I met him, and I didn't even see him coming. He came out of nowhere. I literally did not see him coming. Right up under my nose. I didn't even see it coming. That's how God works. But you got to be ready for it. You've got to be ready for it. I cannot stress this enough. I don't know why women run away from preparation. Okay? You got to be ready for it. So when he shows up, I missed your question, Mama. Okay, hold on. Let me go back up here. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. I don't want to miss your question now. Mm, let's see. Uh oh. Can you type it real quick for me? Oh, here it is. I got it. She says, and thanks for your question. What's a good question for checking the temperature of a relationship outside of using discernment, of course? Are we on the same page? Are we on the same page? What's your idea for the future? That sort of thing. No. Yeah. And here's the thing, and this is why women need the Future Wives Club, because the way that I position you, you won't even have to ask those questions. He'll be asking you those questions, not you having to check anything because you're going to be so clear. When I was courting Tony, I was so clear the entire time. I was so clear. And that is another thing that assured me this must be serious, because I don't have to ask those questions that I used to have to ask before I felt I needed to ask. Because if I asked them, it felt weird. It was stupid. It's like we're consistently talking, and all of the things that I knew were signs that this was serious were happening. So me asking those questions just looked clingy, it looked insecure, because of the way I positioned myself when he found me. There's that our relationship progressed in a healthy way. I didn't need to even ask those questions. And so if you're having to ask those questions, yeah, that's a yellow flag. And so you probably need to get in the Future Wives Club so that we can iron that out, because you may not even have to ask those questions, is where I'm getting to. Sometimes you may have to. Just if you have to check the temperature, that's a sign that something's going on, because you shouldn't have to check the temperature, right? And so we need to find out, why do you feel you need to check the temperature? Phineas, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. He says, Coach has a question. Oh, okay, thank you. Okay, thank you so much for that. Help, please. Is still as me as an elite and not future wife on YouTube. Okay, did you upgrade to future wife in your membership? Probably log out of YouTube, like hard log out, and then log back into YouTube, the entire YouTube platform. Log out, log back in, and then you'll see an update. A lot of those videos are tiered, so you have to make sure when you're signing up, and you see a video you want to see, make sure that you're signing up for that exact tier, because you could sign up for the wrong tier and not have access to that video, and then you'll be mad. Because you know for me. No, you want to make sure you get the right tier to get the video you want, right? Okay. But yeah, so we want to make sure that we position ourselves so we don't even have to ask those questions, if that makes sense. All right. We also want to position ourselves as wives to be able to run our homes efficiently, whether we decide to remain on our jobs full time or whether we decide to be at home full time. Either or, we're still going to run our house efficiently. And if we're working full time outside of the home, we still need to have a system by which we're going to run that home. And how do we have that conversation with our guy about how the home is going to be run if both of us are going to be working? That's why you need the Future Wives Club, because this is the second month. You went through Blindspot to Bride, and you're trying to do what? You should be in the Future Wives Club. Make sure, did you sign up for the Future Wives Club? Make sure you're in there. If you signed up for it and you accepted the invitation and you went through the process, you should be in Future Wives Club. So it should automatically dump you right in there. You should see the once you click on it and go through the process and you're in the club, you're in there. And you'll have access to good girls. So let's say, for instance, you buy the Blindspot to Bride and you accept the Future Wives Club. Once you get in Future Wives Club, you have access to Good Girls Method. Or if you purchase the Good Girls Method and then you got the Future Wives Club, you'll have access to the Blindspot to Bride once you get in there. So send me an email. You should already be in the Future Wives Club. Everything's already set up, and it should be an easy flow. I'm pretty sure it's something real simple, as in pushing a button, go to your student portal, log out, log back in, and it'll be there. If you didn't see it when you signed up for it, you should see it in your student portal. It'll be there. It doesn't go anywhere. Okay, just make sure you did it. Okay, membership to the channel is completely different than the Future Wives Club. Future Wives Club membership on the channel is just a Future Wives Club tier. That means those videos are literally the same coaching. Well, not the same coaching, but it's literally some of the same coaching that we're doing in the Future Wives Club. All right, if that makes sense. Some of it, not all of it, but some of it. Like the introduction to some of the things that we're talking about is overlapping, if that makes sense. Okay, so just log out, log back in the platform, or log back in to the student portal, hard log out and log back in, and then you should see it. Okay, it's probably something simple. It usually is. For those of you that are on the app, make sure that if you switch emails, that Google or Apple, whoever you signed up through, understands, because your subscription will require that same email. So you want to make sure that stuff lines up. I don't have anything to do with that, but I can see the emails that you use in the back office. So you want to make sure that aligns so that you can still have access to the app. All right. Yeah. So, there's membership to the videos. Some of the videos from past times you can still gain access to by becoming a member of the channel. Shout out to all of the members of the channel. Shout out to you. Appreciate you so very much. Take that leap and get in the Future Wives Club. Just go ahead and take that leap. It's worth it. This is your future, baby girl. This is your future, Dove. And it's your future to invest in. And I promise you, you won't be sorry. All right. And we're starting the Ruth Collective. Once you go to the innerbeautymovement.org, you will see the Ruth Collective, which is mentoring in tears. We're starting that, and so working with me with one hour, just one session is no longer available unless you're in the Future Wives Club. That's the only way you can work with me with a one-off session. Everybody else, you have to be in the Ruth Collective, which will be my coaching container. I'm sorry, my mentoring container. Coaching is on Feminine Elite Society app, but my mentoring container, that's where you get to work with me in privately, discreetly. We sign NDAs. We can get on camera. You don't have to get on camera. We can do audio. We can do video. It's your decision, but that's where we do our one-on-one bespoke mentoring. That is now open, and I'm not going to fill it with a bunch of people because I want to make sure that I have time for my clients, because you're going to need me emails, sessions, and that sort of thing. We want to be ready, and so you can read more about that on the website once I roll it out 100%. So those ladies that are ready to take that leap and you want to prepare to be a wife, but you just want some more tailored mentoring. You just want specific mentoring with me one-on-one, and you need that because you need it, a bird's eye view of what's going on with you. Some of you need that. All right, that's what the Ruth Collective is for, right? Ladies, I'm going to get out of here because I've talked a lot and my throat is so dry. This weather, I just feel like I need to put lotion all over my body. I just feel, ugh. Stay moisturized, ladies. Get some rest. Get plenty of rest. Make sure you take your magnesium at night so that you can get a clear rest. Make sure your skin is great. Make sure you're drinking water and getting your steps in. Okay, so that by May and June you're looking excellent. Right, I have a goal that I want to meet. By the time May comes, I want to get down to a specific look. I want to get even more. Want to look, by, and hopefully some of you ladies will go to the Kentucky Derby. What do you say? What do you say? Let's do it. All right, ladies, I want you to have an awesome rest of the day. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. Those of you joining me on the rebroadcast, thank you so much. Leave a comment if you want and let me know where you comment from, how long have you been watching, what questions did you have, what stood out to you, what would you like for me to cover in the future, because I have some things. We're going to be talking about wife prep specifically, and it's going to be some uncomfortable topics going up and through here, but I think they're going to be beneficial for the women that are serious and they're not trying to end up in the bottom. That's not them. That's not them. The bottom with the rest of the culture complaining about men. That's not them. They are ready to become wives. They're done with that. They're ready to do what it needs to do to become a wife. All right, I will see you next week, same time, same bat channel, Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Remember, I love you and Jesus Christ loves you. And until the next time, keep the faith, everybody. Peace.